Racing Point has already been served a penalty in the form of a €400,000 fine and a 15-point deduction in the championship for their brake duct design that has been deemed in breach of the regulations by the stewards. Some are now suggesting that this could also put Mercedes in troubled waters, as they were the ones who supplied Racing Point with the technical data needed to make these parts. I'm your host Dillon Shelley, and first up on Formula World, could Mercedes be in trouble over Racing Point brake ducts? Red Bull team principal Christian Horner began by explaining the need for clarity. I think the biggest thing for us is that we want absolute clarity. What is permissible moving forward? He then pointed out Red Bull's unique situation. Obviously, Red Bull are in a unique position that they own 100% of 2 Grand Prix teams. We've always complied stringently with the regulations since the constructor rules within the last Concord agreement were made very clear. So for us, there is a bigger picture. This is not just about brake ducts, it's about what is philosophically allowed and what isn't. He then gave his opinion on whether Mercedes were in breach of any regulations. Regarding Mercedes, I'm sure questions will get asked, because if the team in question are guilty of receiving, surely the team that has provided has also been in breach of those regulations, and that's something for the FIA to look into. Haas team principal Gunther Steiner chimed in. I am not at all surprised. They apparently gave data to Racing Point in 2020, and that is simply not allowed. Ferrari, for example, would never give us data on brake ducts for our car this year. If Mercedes shared information in 2020 in a way that is not allowed, then there should indeed also be consequences for them. Anyway, the FIA must first find out whether this is the case or not. Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff, meanwhile, accepted that they have shared data, but is sure that it wasn't in violation of any of the rules set by the FIA. We are comfortable in our position, because we have read and followed the rules. The statement of the FIA is very complex and shows things that we didn't know before. We have shared data with Racing Point, but believe that it is within the rules. Fast feed. Nico Hülkenberg has revealed that he has been talking to 2 teams for a while now for a full-time return in 2021. Liberty Media has confirmed that due to strong results of the first 2 seasons of Netflix Drive to Survive, the film crews are already filming the 3rd season. Former F1 driver Christian Albers thinks that Red Bull's Max Verstappen has always been a driver who has been good at tyre management, being able to push but not going over the edge. F1 CEO Chase Carey has divulged that they are planning a 2021 season that looks pretty much like what they would have expected it to look like at the beginning of this year, and that it will probably be a 22 race calendar. Defending world champion Lewis Hamilton feels that they should never really do one-stop races in this sport. It's never really fun for the fans. Christian Horner explained that they had no guarantee their tyre strategy would work and that they took a risk, and this time that risk paid off. He also thinks that his driver Alex Albon just doesn't have a quiet Saturday at the moment. His Sundays are great. He did some overtaking that was impressive. He further feels that the moment the car becomes a bit more manoeuvrable on Saturday and Alex starts qualifying a bit better, the racing also becomes easier. For Racing Point team boss Otmar Safnauer, the biggest part of the Concord is fine as far as they are concerned, but there is still some smoothing along the edges to do. Toto Wolff doesn't think it's in anyone's interest that the protests against Racing Point will last forever. Former F1 driver turned analyst Jolyon Palmer does not think that Sebastian Vettel will be able to complete the 2020 season with Ferrari, as it's getting more toxic by the day, not even by race. During the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton asked over the radio if Red Bull has used a lower tyre pressure value, and he has now clarified that he wasn't saying that they have different settings compared to Mercedes because they all have the same minimum. Do you think Sebastian Vettel will drive with Ferrari until the end of the season, or will we see an early departure? Head over to my community page to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.